What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we literally just watched Gone Girl. What a perfect movie for you to come on the podcast for the first time of us being married.
I know, so up my alley.
It does. It's a good movie because, like, in the beginning, it makes you hate Ben Affleck's character. Like, he is so sketchy. The perspective makes you just hate him. He's, like, doing all the wrong things.
Well, even from the get, I see him on screen and I'm like, what a tool. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to, and then
Not my Batman.
In that instance, I'm like trying to think about any role I've seen him in that I didn't think that.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I kind of just don't really like.
Have you seen The Town?
Yeah. With, is it Ed Hardy? No.
Jeremy Renner.
Yes.
And Blake Lively is in The Town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I'm trying to think of and I can't really think of one. Even in Batman, I was like, kind of like, okay, man.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't my favorite Batman.
Good Will Hunting? Anyway.
Yeah.
That's my first time seeing it. I've never seen it. I've always going into it, I knew what the movie was about. Like, I knew the twist already.
Yeah.
But despite knowing the twist, you still, like, I didn't know the whole full story, right? But still, in the beginning, like we were saying, you hate Ben Affleck.
Yeah, it's an overall ride for sure.
Yeah.
Because
this is a journey. What a journey.
I was about to shout out to Gray. What a journey. But it's like the beauty of it is the entire 2 hours and 24 minutes. You are like, I do not know who to root for. Like, you can't land on something. Because even when you kind of know, you're like, okay, well, he's in the wrong. It's like, no, she's also batshit, but it's both. Right?
Yeah, because like first you hate him, and then once you start to see her evil, there's like a middle, like in the midpoint of the movie, you're like conflicted with like who to root for.
Yeah.
Because she sucks. You start to realize she sucks. Ben Affleck has cheated on her, you know, plus in the beginning, the way he's not that, the only thing he's done bad was cheat on her. Because like, what else he do?
Threw her up against a wall. What do you mean?
At the end. And then he did push her.
Yeah, we don't know that for sure because it was technically a flashback from her perspective.
Right.
So we don't know that for sure. But for me, it's almost like, and that's kind of like how the movie is, that you're like, okay, well, she says that this happened and we're like, oh, what an asshole, right? And then it's kind of like, okay, well, now she's not saying anything credible, but then we see him do it in real time. We're like, okay, well, yeah, he could have totally pushed her off of that banister, you know?
But there's that midpoint where you're like conflicted. You don't know who to root for. And at the end, you're rooting for him, hoping that he can clear his name because she clearly manipulated everything. You start to hate her because, you know, like they do so many good things to make you hate her finally, like twisted at the end. Like the one girl that robbed her before the end, she was a sweet girl the whole time. And then she spits in her drink because she's like talking shit about her.
Yeah.
Without her looking. So you're like, oh, this little conniving bitch. No matter where she goes, she just like fucks with people for her own pleasure.
And I think like it's just kind of like it dances around the threshold for so long of like almost like being like, okay, we can kind of like get with it, you know? Like even everything that well, no, on both ends, like on his end and on her end.
Yeah.
Because it's like you kind of understand her being so, you know, his end, but then he crosses that threshold of like throwing her up against the wall and you're like, okay, this is a bad dude. You know, not to say cheating is good or anything.
I'd say at the end when he throws her up against, that's justified because of all the things she's done.
She's pretty crazy. But what I mean is that like this whole entire time they're like dancing around like where is that line where us as an audience is like, oh my God. So like obviously she crossed that threshold. And I thought it was like genius acting from her that she's playing this like, you know, like
she plays like 3 or 4 characters.
Yes. And just so, but that's like, you know, everybody always throws around the word narcissist as like you can call anyone a narcissist, you know, or you have narcissistic moments. Dude, she's a fucking narcissist.
And a psychopath.
Yeah, because it's like, and that's like why murderers love notoriety. She was doing the same exact thing. She was watching it play out. She was watching like her master plan play out on TV.
Yeah.
And that's like another thing that was like interesting in a modern way to this movie. And like, I think around this time I was following a lot of the true crime podcasts and stuff is missing white women's syndrome is so true.
What is that?
So it's this concept that if, like, let's say a minority goes missing, it's not in the media. But if a missing white woman
it's like front
happens,
page.
Dude, one day. And the statistic on missing persons is that the cops wait 48 hours.
Right.
And she even acknowledged that, the female cop. She was like, well, usually we wait, but, you know, there's signs telling us that we need to get on this. So that statistic, they wait 48 hours. 48 hours is also the average amount of people that are living after they're kidnapped is 48 hours.
So if they last 48 hours and they survive most of the time?
Well, no, what they're saying is if someone is kidnapped, then within that 48 hours, they're probably going to die.
Oh.
But the same thing is like they wait 48 hours to call it a missing persons case. But in this case, she was gone for less than a day, and it was front page news.
She also was famous, semi-famous. Maybe that helped it a bit.
Not as much as her family having money.
That too.
And that she's a missing white woman.
Right, yeah.
You know,
sure.
It's front page news. She's darling. She's America's sweetheart. This could never happen to, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like thrown out there.
Yeah.
We're like led to believe, looking at Ben Affleck, he looks like he's aged 50 years in this movie.
Yeah.
And it happens over a month. The entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Funny about his character too, because they filmed this movie during him preparing for Batman. And so he changes his appearance throughout the movie because he got jacked for parts of it. So like in the later scenes that they filmed in the shoot set, you know, like they filmed this, you know, middle scenes maybe later, out of order, he was jacked in some of them because he was preparing for Batman. So that also helps his like appearance. And I think it also helps the movie, like you were saying, like he ages, he's like changing because he's under so much stress because like he's having to fight this lie that he has no control over. Like he has no control over his image at all until the final point when he can finally get in front of the camera, and like even then he doesn't have control over his image because he has to lie about how he loves his wife. I miss her. I love you. Where are you? Please come back to me. I messed up. He did mess up, but he's like, I'm a bad guy. This and that, just that way he can get the appearance back on him. So like he never has control over his image the entire time. Yeah. She's always manipulating it, even whenever they're trying to get at her. So like he never has control over it. So like that makes sense of why he's changing throughout it, because he's like dealing with so much stress the whole time.
That meme of him smoking the cigarette outside, he looked like that meme the entire movie.
Yeah,
like
right.
just so like just over it. But I think like his character, and I'm reading a lot of these like books, like kind of like maybe thriller, other genres, where it's like a lot of the times where men start to spiral, it's whenever they don't feel like in control of like the family and stuff. Yeah. And he like mentions that multiple times. He's like, I'm just done with all these women telling me what to fucking do.
Yeah.
And that can really like snap a man like
for sure.
that. And so I think his wife being so like type A and so like planning everything out.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like can make someone feel like emasculine.
Oh yeah, for
in
sure.
that role in the family, that you're like, and you know, and I think it's like on both sides, because something like, you know, they're back and forth about having a baby and stuff. That's something that kind of belongs to her and her femininity. And so it's almost like him not wanting to do that. I'm just like.
But he did want the baby the whole time.
Yeah, that's what he comes out and says. That's the thing about this movie. There's no certain, because the only thing that we see is that he negates that is in her flashback of her saying, oh, let's have a baby. And he's already on the outs of the marriage, you know? But then he comes out at the end of the movie and says, I wanted a baby the entire time. It's like you don't know what to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's such a good liar.
Yeah.
That you don't know. All right.
Or he didn't want, you know, it's like,
yeah.
But that's like an interesting play too, is like, I'm not saying that I side with her, because like I said, she eventually, you know, crosses the threshold of being insane, you know. But leading up to that, as a fellow female, I can kind of like see, and then you can kind of see things that she does that would, so it gets you to root for like almost like the gender, because that's who you like correspond to, I guess.
All right, so what do you rate it?
Oh, that was a really good movie.
It was.
It was uneasy without me getting scared, which is a very thin line for me these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. It Really made me hate Ben Affleck, though. Like, the entire time. I didn't even like him at the end.
Really?
Yeah, I just felt like he was such a douchebag.
But that's because they were planting the seeds to make him look like it because the perception was so bad. But in reality, he was a good guy.
He cheated on his wife for 15 months, Cade.
No, I agree, but she was like literally like the worst. She's a psychopath.
Well, I mean, before, like when he was cheating on her the entire time, she was kind of moving around the house like a ghost and kind of felt like he gave her no attention.
No, but that's from her point of view.
I
that's
know,
not
but
true.
we never saw his point of view of that. That could have been true.
You can assume that everything of her point of view is a lie because she's like putting it in her journal.
But we don't know that for sure. We don't know that. We don't know that him going out every night with his friends and her not being allowed to go was or was not true. Because he was sleeping with that woman.
For sure.
She caught them outside of the bar. So what's to say that like he wasn't going out like she says that he was and he was meeting up with these women?
Right. But I'm saying this is not a defense for that, but I do think that she is 100% the bad person in the movie.
Yeah.
She's the evil one.
Yeah, but I mean, she's definitely the bad guy, for sure.
You're sympathizing with the evil woman.
I'm not sympathizing with that, but I'm saying he's not a fucking Boy Scout over there either.
But the only way I would say he is a good guy, which then hints to his character being a good guy the whole time, is that at the very end, he does decide to he does let himself get manipulated again by her probably, and like falls back to her. But he was like, I have to stay there for the kid. Like I can't just like leave this kid alone. Now it's my responsibility. So I finally has a responsibility, so now he's gonna take after the kid. So like, even though he hates this woman and like it's gonna be a miserable life, he like is still gonna stick around for that baby because he has to raise it. He's gonna try to get the kids he's gonna try to get the custody of the baby.
Yeah.
So I think that would maybe show he is a good guy because he's gonna sacrifice that to try to get this baby protected.
He's not a good guy, and you can't say he's a good guy. A good guy cheats on his wife for 15 months. I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me that.
No, but
oh my god.
But she was doing some. All right. Anyway, we'll talk about this later. Rating.
I don't know. Like it's almost a 9.
There you go.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I was gonna give it an 8.
The shots were so cool, and her acting. I mean, honestly, Ben Affleck's acting, whatever. But her acting was so good.
Ben Affleck hater over here.
Yeah, I think I don't really care for the guy.
Well, I give it an 8.
And he cheats on his wife in real life too.
I don't know that.
He cheated on Jennifer Gardner with their nanny. That's why they got divorced.
These Hollywood guys, man, they got no morals.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's so with her controlling the whole image the whole time. It makes sense with her character because she has always controlled her image through her stories. And the Amazing Amy was who she wanted to be. It's everything that she.
Her parents wrote those stories. It wasn't everything that she wanted to be.
Thought she wrote them.
No, her parents wrote those. Her parents wrote them about her. Remember, she was guiding him around the books, and then she goes like, oh, I didn't make the freshman volleyball team, and then in the next book, Amazing Amy is playing volleyball.
I thought she wrote them because like he was saying your parents suck because they didn't get you the dog, so you had to write about a dog instead.
No, they didn't get her the dog, and then they wrote about the dog.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, her parents. Sorry, yeah. I missed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amazing Amy books for the film were written by her parents.
Well, and then that kind of sets up, because I think another theme in it is that you see what you want to see, and sometimes in your partners.
Okay,
you kind of make them how you want them to be and how you want them to fit into your mold, and that's brought up multiple times.
I think that fits my theory too, because since she's never had control over her image, now she's trying to make the perfect situation for herself.
Maybe.
Because she's like, the Amazing Amy, of course, the fucking Amazing Amy did this and that. Thinking that, her parents are writing it as if it's her. And so she's like never had control over it. So now she crafts this crazy plot to like finally break free from it and have full control over her own image.
Maybe. I think it's also that she becomes what he wants in that moment. She even said she made him into everything that she wanted him to be, and it still wasn't enough because that's not who he is. And so I think it's like following this theme. It's like you can't make people be something else that they're not. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris's character big one.
He's trying to force her to be something.
He tried to force her back to be because she shows up on his doorstep.
Fat.
She had been gaining weight because she tried to alter her image. Her hair is fucked up. She has bruises all over. She's in homely clothes.
Every time she's eating some shit, he's looking at her like, motherfucker.
Yes,
he gets some more wine. He's like, this bitch.
Yes.
I don't have to get drunk so I can sleep with her.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Well, so
that's what Neil Patrick Harris's character, I'm saying.
Yeah. And then he's like, and then he's like, oh, you'll be back to your old self. He's like trying to make her who she once was, but that's not who she is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just like grappling with herself. And like, I didn't want to say this because it's not like I side with her, but I was like, oh my, what smart ass bitch is what she is.
She is.
Like, holy crap. But it's also like, well, you've heard me say this multiple times. My mom used to always say that like the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck, and they can turn them whichever way. Another overall theme, I believe, is that men are just dumb.
In this movie, all the men are stupid.
Movie.
Well, it's funny because because usually women are pretty more manipulative than men because they know how to because they're very emotionally attached. So they can like figure out what to say and how to like change people's emotions and like coordinate it, right?
Yeah.
If they choose to and be evil and manipulate. With her being a female and being manipulative, all the dudes can't pick up on the fact that she's manipulating except for the female detective. Which I think is a good writing choice to have the female detective be the one that's like heading the case, because then you get into like territory of like making it seem sexist when it's not. Because if it's like the man comes in and like gets is the one that's like outing the girl, it's like, all right, obviously it's just like against this one girl. Then it could be interpreted as like this is just an anti-woman movie because she's obviously the evil character. But having the woman detective being there to be the one that sees through her bullshit and being the one that's always skeptical about it, it's like a good thing to make the message hit, not throw in a different message.
Yeah, but it's also to show that like women think like women.
Right. That's
why. Well, yeah, that's why she was picking up. She was asking her all those questions at the end. She was starting to pick her up.
Yeah, she knows.
She's like, and all women think the same, and that's why we are able to be so manipulative. It's like because how many times have I told you? It's like. Let's say like your outfit doesn't work. Well, then I'm gonna have a bad night, and if I have a bad night, I'm gonna have a bad week at work, and if I have a bad week at work, I'm never gonna amount to anything, and no one's gonna like me. And that's just like the way that our brains work. So like in plotting this plan, it shows that like men can't keep up because they're just different thinkers, and that's fucking okay.
Yeah,
we're different genders. Our brains work different ways, and men are able to compartmentalize. And that's why they're like, well, why would she ever do this over here?
Right.
Because you're not thinking like her, man.
Yeah. The FBI's are like...
It's all connected.
Yeah, like clearly the detective is pointing out so many holes in her story. But the FBI guy who's running the show now, he's like, ma'am, stop. He's like trying to shut her down. He's like, I'm so sorry for this. You've been so brave. And, thank you for letting us know. It's like, she's fucking lying.
Yeah. Yeah. Her acting in that second half where she like comes home and she's just like smiling is so dead-eyed. Is very Daenerys Targaryen in the last season. Just you start to see her slowly go insane.
Yeah.
Just with her eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
And you see too, because Jordan Peterson talks a lot about there's like the far side of masculinity, which is bad, and the far side of femininity, which is bad. And the far side of femininity is the overbearing mother that will never let her kids grow up. Like she's all like it's the witch in the gingerbread house. Like she keeps them for her own spoils. She doesn't let them like go out in the world. So she's like that essentially, where she's like at the very end, she's controlling him so much, not letting him do anything. Like every single thing he says, she coordinates and calculates to make sure he says the right things. Like when he goes down and like is looking out at the window at the very end, when they're finally back in their house together, once we all know that she's the evil one. He knows it too. He peeks out to go see the police cars outside, or the van or whatever it was, news maybe. And she's like, what are you doing? And she's like, come on, let me come tuck you back in. Like she's like being that overprotective, overbearing mother's like, why are you up? Let's go to bed. Come on. You don't need to be doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Let me control you here.
Yeah.
So that was like a very obviously symbolic message there, not message, but obviously a symbolic thing where she's like, let me tuck you back into bed. Mm-hmm. She's that overbearing mother almost.
Put him right back on the teat, girl.
Yeah. It's funny you're talking about Ben Affleck not liking him, because that obviously helps his character, because he looks so sketchy in the beginning with everything he does. And when David Fincher was casting, trying to find out who he wanted to play this dude, he was looking at pictures, and he was looking at pictures of Ben Affleck, and he saw he had like this smile. And if you look at some of his smiles, like they don't look very like,
no,
they
they're
look
not
guilty
genuine.
They look guilty as smiles, right? Like fake, yeah.
He has this like sly, like, and
yeah.
it's not good.
So Fincher saw that. It's like, that's the fake ass smile I need for my movie. So he's like, he picked it because he looks so sketchy all the time in his smiles. Because he knew with those pictures that would pop up in the movies when he's smiling next to a poster, like a dumbass.
Like a dumbass. Yeah. Oh my God.
Smiling next to that girl, like the crisis girl that wants to just, help the whatever.
Which in his defense, that was, I mean, that scene was probably less than 48 hours from when he came home and she was gone. So it's like a whirlwind.
What scene?
The one where he goes up to the poster and he's like smiling like an idiot next to a missing person's poster of his wife.
As an innocent man, he acts so fucking guilty.
It's like, oh my God, I kind of think you're guilty, which he is of some things. I mean, he obviously like he's not a good guy. Do not say he's a good guy. He's not a great guy, but he's not a murderer, and that's true.
Yeah.
And she's a murderer.
Murderer, manipulator, fraudulent woman.
Yeah, liar. Oh, God, that really just like burns my skin whenever I just watch people plainly lie on camera. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
how do you sleep at night?
Gross.
Like, because it's like, yeah. God, I've listened to a lot of, whenever this movie came out, I was in like my true crime podcast, like Prime, and I was listening to it all the time. And there's been a couple of cases of just people like, well, women like needing, not to say that all women need attention, but I think that's something that, women are pretty. They like to be noticed. And so I think it's something that all women like kind of deep down strive for, is to be noticed and to have attention and stuff. And so that's like another thing, is that like he's not noticing her. She's like moving around the house, and all of the scenes he's like out of focus, out of frame. And so you're supposed to feel so disconnected from her that's why she wants all these cameras about her life and stuff. She loves watching the TV and like people caring about her life, because she didn't feel like he cared. And that's all she cares about. That's all I care about, is like the opinion of my husband to me. Yeah. So if I felt totally unnoticed by you, I'd feel unnoticed by the entire world. And so in these like real life cases, like I remember this one of this lady just using, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in police resources and taxpayer money, like to get people like working around the clock trying to find this stalker that's sending her like death threats and letters and stuff. It was that bitch. She was literally doing it to herself, making the police run around in circles in a wild goose chase. Like, that's something they don't talk about. You know how many people were in that damn crime scene that they have to pay salary for?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Talk about, a month of investigation for you just to turn up. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, she's just evil. Like, her whole life, she just manipulates people.
And, she grew up privileged. So that's probably not something that she thinks about.
But I don't know if... I'm not sure that he obviously was being distant from her towards the beginning of the movie. Like, that's what it shows. And it's also obviously from her perspective. So, it's her tricking us, and as well as the journal so that the police can find it. So we know that, so we suspect, and, that's pretty much evidence that he's guilty.
Yeah.
But she framed another dude, like that one guy that like literally she framed him for being a rapist. Now his life is ruined.
Yeah, that's like, she probably had terrible.
Like, well, we don't know her motive there, but like, what gain did she get from that? Like, she just enjoys manipulating people. So I think he was being distant, but I think he was getting tired of her manipulation, and then that led him to then cheat on her and like try to leave her. She's gonna get a divorce, but he's like sticking around for whatever reason, and he just went out and cheated on her.
I don't think that there's any situation where it's okay to cheat on a person. So I'm just gonna lay that right there.
What if I was a mass murdering man? Come to find out, you never knew. You wouldn't like go off and try to find a new man if you realized everything that I was fake. The person you knew, like me, it wasn't. It's not me. I'm just like this.
Okay, but at that point, I would not be with you.
Right.
And it would probably, I wouldn't like. This is so stupid. I would not like if I found out you were a mass murderer.
You leave me.
In that moment that we were still married, I would not like go and like sleep with somebody else. That's stupid.
You might want the comfort of a safe man that can protect you from the mass murderer.
There's like, I don't think that there's any, I think you always have an opportunity, even if you're married, to just say like, hey, I don't want to be married anymore. I think we should be separated. I'm getting a divorce. And if then that's, if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, he probably didn't divorce her because he wants that free ride of that trust fund money.
That's okay. So that's exactly why he didn't divorce her. That's not a good reason to not divorce somebody. I mean, everything's in her name. They said that. His credit cards, his own fucking bar. He would lose everything, and they signed a prenup. So he knows that. Another thing that's pretty emasculating to a man. Because that's coming into money.
Yeah, and she's got everything on him. But she also probably controlled that and like made sure that she was controlling it all. She made sure her name was on everything because she, one, had the money. One, had the money. And two, she knows that she can just go and handcuff his ass to her where he can never leave her because I own you.
Well, yeah, but he should have the fucking balls to be like, regardless, I would rather like live in destitute than to be married from you, and I will divorce you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that prenup is also, I mean, he brought it up multiple times, probably emasculating to a man to come into money. And then he has to like fight her on her giving her trust fund to her parents. He fought her on her giving it back to her parents. And she's like, but it's their money. And I'm like thinking like, what kind of a man? You're like fighting her for her inheritance money so that you can like keep your bar and just write shitty stories.
But they're married. It's their money. What about that?
It's her inheritance.
Their money. They got married.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless the prenup deemed it.
I think I just really don't like Ben Affleck. Everything he does, I'm like sketchy.
No, because definitely sketchy. But at the end of the movie, I was definitely rooting for him, and I was definitely hating her. I was 100% on her side in the beginning.
I still hate him, but I also hate her.
Because you're just an big anti-cheater. That one character flaw ruins it for you.
I will never condone that, and I will never forgive that from anybody.
Which is justifiable. That should be the right thing.
That is where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's not a
cheating.
Bad line to have drawn.
Yeah.
But
so as an audience, I mean, a lot of people have that line. So
she's pure evil. I would say.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy at the end.
Because I don't think it's like I'm not saying she's pure evil from like just a man versus woman thing. She's a woman, she's bad. She just is genuinely bad.
Yeah, she's like conniving and murderous and manipulative and all the things, but it's not like there's no clear cut here. There's no like, honestly, there's not one damn redeemable character except for maybe his sister. And the
sister
lawyer.
Was cool.
The lawyer was cool.
The lawyer's fun. He was
funny.
Again, I guess he maybe is redeemable, but he honestly probably didn't believe him in the beginning. He just wanted that money. $100,000 retainer every single month just to keep him on, to have him help you.
Yeah.
$100K dropping every month. So like he doesn't really give a fuck. He's like, you might be guilty. Shit, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I win the unwinnable cases. So he'll take on any case because he wants the money. He's good at his job. He could probably prove you innocent. But he doesn't. I don't think he really probably cares that you're innocent.
I'll tell you why he cares.
Why?
All those damn TV cameras and notoriety.
That too. Yeah.
And
good
it's
marketing.
a high profile case.
Yeah.
That could if he wins the unwinnable cases, then imagine the biggest freaking American sweetheart murder case. Think of how popular those are.
It was a funny line from him too, because that was Tyler Perry.
No, really?
So it's
oh my God.
So it's funny with him. He was like, Like, you're about the most fucked up people I've ever seen. He's like, I should make a reality TV show about that. That's kind of like almost poking fun at Tyler Perry for like all the media he does in his company. He's like, it's almost like a breaking the fourth wall sort of moment with his character of like, damn, that'd be a good reality TV show of him like being himself there for a moment. It's kind of like a funny little Easter egg, I thought.
Yeah.
Kind of recognizing who the actor playing that character is.
Yeah. He said that after Ben Affleck was like, she made me shower with her so I wasn't wearing a wire. But to bring up about that scene, she wore that blood
For a long time. Yeah.
She was in the hospital. And I was like, no one's going to wash off her neck or something. And she's just staring.
I love that too. Like,
I'm like, no one's going to clean her up.
If you were in the hospital, they're not going to clean your ass up. I mean, Jesus Christ.
It was like
somebody's
all
blood
over her. And even when she was in the shower, she's like, can you hand me the shampoo? I'm like, wash your body. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hair first.
You have another man's like blood all over you. Which, I mean, she kept those men coming, man.
Maybe that shows more that she's
okay with it. Yeah.
She doesn't have any guilt toward her action. She's like, let me wash my hair first.
Yeah, before I wash my hands.
I got to get pretty.
Maybe.
My image.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then she does everything. I'm going to get dressed, you know?
Yeah. Damn, dude. Poor Ben Affleck at the end, though. That would suck, bro. Getting locked into that.
Dude, just like wondering every night if you're going to wake up.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not staying in that house, dude. If I'm Ben Affleck, I'm out of that house ASAP.
Yeah.
And also, fuck the image. Who gives a shit? You're not famous. That shit will blow over in literally 2 weeks. A week, probably. A couple days, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess that girl that went on the cross-country road trip with her boyfriend and he ended up killing her on it.
Yeah.
I guess that's Gabby Petito. I remember her name. Like, they're not, like, famous, but they're, like, pretty well known, especially in this day and age. Like, true crime, like, stories are so big. You know, court cases are huge. So, and that's what's so unique about this movie, even though it's, what is this, like 2016? 2014.
Yep.
Wow. So that's like really before like if this was made today, you wouldn't even have just cable or just the internet. You'd have Instagram. You'd have, oh, I watched this TikTok video and he's so guilty or whatever. And it's everywhere.
And that shows you the power of the media, of how the media can control the narrative even when it's not true.
Yeah, and then
because the media, like the media is the reason why he's being seen as so sketchy. He's doing a lot of sketchy shit, but the media blows it up so much because of these talk shows.
Yeah. So then the people become like an entity, and she also not only has to worry about, you know, controlling the truth, but also controlling the facade of the truth that the people believe. And she takes that into account too. But you know what? So does he.
Because she's in the publication world with her parents, so she like knows about the image and how to publish things, how to make sure your publicity is right.
Put on your best face, and and she's like a rich like girl from New York, and he's like from Missouri, and he doesn't know anything. That's where she bests him. But the moment that he like, what was it on that? Oh, it was on that show.
When he finally made himself look good for the fucking first time.
Yes. And he knows that she's watching because he says, like, I know I'm in the woodshed, and she kind of smiles. She knows that he found the shed, and he does this. That's like their tell is he covers his chin.
Because he has a villainous chin.
Yeah. She's like, cover your chin or something, like you look mischievous. So he does that to not look that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he's on TV, and I feel like that's almost like a signal to her that he's kind of like game on, bitch. So that's like he's taking it back, and he's like making a call back to that.
Yeah. And then what a shitty take on marriage, just two people controlling each other.
It was not like good for us, because at the beginning she's like, oh my gosh, we get each other, we're best friends, and blah blah this. I'm like, oh yeah. And then it's like, oh no, I would never do something like that.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of crazy.
I wonder if he did push her. Because
I'm telling you, I don't think we know like all of that, because it's not like he was doing nothing. And I think like loneliness is like a really dangerous thing, especially for women.
And we never know when she started to lie, because she obviously was telling the truth in the beginning. So that way there was truth in the journal.
Mm-hmm.
So he dumbass verified the truth in the journal. Mm-hmm. Like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no. He did go into that scene saying, I'm going to tell the truth. Like, this is my truth. And then he said, I never hit her. But then she said, it says push. She goes, I did not do that. He never said push.
I'm telling you.
Maybe he did do that.
And at the beginning, when they're questioning him, let's not forget that he had no idea what his wife did during the day. She's stay at home. He has no idea what she did during the day. He said, well, she reads books a lot. And then we found out what she was reading, like all those true crime stuff, like how to like stage it and stuff. He didn't know who her friends were. He didn't know what he did. He obviously...
I don't think she had friends.
But even if she did, Kade, like she had a bunch of people from back home and stuff. You know my friends. You know what I do on my days off. You know how I spend my days.
Yeah.
How is it that you're married to someone and they're like, well, what does she do during the day? And he just didn't know. He didn't know that. He didn't know. You can tell me, like,
well, they've been disconnected for a while. It seemed like they've been thinking about divorce for a minute.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that he made her feel so isolated. Like, it's just backing it up. He had nothing to do with her life. He had no idea about her life. So how could he have been a part of it?
A part of her life?
Yes.
I hear you, but she's also the villain.
I'm not saying that that's not true.
You think she's the victim.
I'm not sympathizing with that. I'm just saying that he's also bad. He's not a good guy.
Yeah, but he's not as bad as she. He's like one step up bad. She's like top of the bad.
I'm literally agreeing with you. I'm just saying that he's not completely in the right.
I'm with you. I agree with that too.
Yeah. It was pretty sketch how they're like, you don't know what you're like, even if you're like, oh, she had no friends. Really? She didn't have one friend in 30 years of life.
I don't think she did.
She had friends from back home. They said that.
She's a psychopath.
He was so like disconnected and so disinterested.
But in Missouri,
life.
I don't think she had any friends in Missouri.
Well, yeah.
Missouri. She's a Missourian.
And that's another thing. Like, she loved New York. She loved living in the city. And they had to, like, you do what you have to do for your, like,
image.
Families. No.
She liked New York style because she was image.
That's where she was from.
And
what are you
image.
Talking about?
But she's also, you got to remember, she's a psychopath.
Maybe. Yeah.
She is. She kills somebody, has no remorse. Like, she kills him.
No, I'm not, like, saying she's not. I'm just saying, like, at the beginning and why they moved because his mom got sick. And then they just never went back.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, like, if I was like, oh, I really, like, you know, we're about to move to Austin. What if I was like, no, I, like, really love Dallas. This is where I belong. It's where I grew up. It's my place. And you were just like, nope. And you just, like, up and moved me. And then I have no friends or anything. Like, if I didn't go willingly, that'd be a really, really lonely situation.
Yeah, it's like it's the worst case scenario for a failing marriage, this movie.
Yeah. Well, and then they're like, oh, does she have any friends? He was like, she was really close with my mom. Again, like drawing it back to his life.
Yeah.
They get to Missouri and he's like all with his family. Like, I get that you have a family and you love your family, but your wife is your family. That's like your first family, you know, and it kind of seemed like they got there and he was hands off and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, when he lost his job, he definitely became a loser.
Yeah.
Drinking natural light, playing video games.
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch, buying shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm with you.
Started going out with the boys all the time. And then she was like, and then I had to turn into something I hate where she was like, can I go with you? Which is also rock bottom for me. I would be like, I would have to be pretty freaking lonely to like for the one night. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, if he's going out every night and she's incredibly lonely, she's like,
her motivations. I'm seeing what you're saying. Yeah, she definitely has motivations for her actions. Her evil actions were motivated because of their failing marriage, and she just wanted to punish him for the cheating.
Yeah. Well, I think she wanted to punish him for everything. And it's like she was driven to that point, and that's why I was talking about that line that we draw. It's like she's driven, and I'm like, yeah, he's a piece of shit, and he like leaves her lonesome and then fakes a kidnapping.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, no, that's where I draw my line.
Because he wasn't who she was trying to form him into be, and she was falling out of what he originally fell for.
Yeah, like she wanted him to be a loving, doting husband. He was a piece of shit.
And because they're both
can't make him what they aren't.
Because like they both talk about how they just want to. She was the cool girl for him.
Yes, he wanted me to be cool girl. He wanted me to drink like beers in the
she
bar.
She faked her image.
That's not who she is. She's a privileged white girl.
Trust fund, baby.
That's okay. That's okay if that's your thing. You belong with Neil Patrick Harris over there. That's also like rich and uppity.
Yeah,
you know?
Very controlling.
Yeah.
Wants to keep his pristine lifestyle.
Yeah, that's just a different way to. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I just mean like it's just a different personalities. Like her and Ben Affleck, and they like met when they were young and all this, and they were both like had like writing careers, so they had this in common that they were both like, you know, striving for something that wasn't certain, which is like any creative careers. We know that that it's, you know, following like basically a dream your entire life. And then like when the recession hit and things got hard, like I feel like a lot of people told us like when we were getting married that like a marriage is like hard work and all that. And it's kind of like, I get that it is like, but it's not work that you don't want to do. And I think when it like crosses that line, whenever it's just like how Ben Affleck's like, oh my God, I just don't want to do this. It's like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the whole entire beginning, they're like, I know it's hard work. It's hard work. It's like, well, that took like a crazy turn.
Yeah. Yeah, but her acting is so good with the way she like, you know, acts at different people, the dead, evil eyes at the end of how she's just like, that just like, because it also helps because we also know who she is now. We know she's this like snake in the grass. And so every time she's smiling, you're like, that fake smiling. Like we know she's probably scheming up something. She's been scheming something. Like she's always got she's literally bulletproofed her plan. They cannot convict her because her plan is just rock solid. There is zero proof of her. Like she just did everything perfect. Like she literally manipulated it as best as anybody could.
Yeah.
The police, just like, I can't do anything. The FBI are on it, run by a bunch of men who don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. And it's like a really like, well, I've talked about the catharsis of a story, which is like the ending and like not the feel good, but just a feeling of it like wrapping up. And the absence of that adds to the uneasiness of the overall feeling of the movie.
Because, you know, they are going to stick together, but you're like, but what the fuck? Is he going to survive this marriage? Holy fuck.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about it taking place in the real world. So us as an audience, it's like we're seeing like really realistic news headlines and stuff like that. And at the end of this movie, you're like, a murderer is walking free. I don't like how that feels. And it's like after, like when the credits roll and it goes black, you're kind of like, holy shit. Like the lack of release of like all this pent up energy is like kind of a lingering presence.
Yeah. Cause you're like, fuck, dude, that was a good movie. Shit.
It was a good movie, but I was like, oh man, she got away with all of it.
But so she's good. Great casting. Ben Affleck, great casting with him being all sketchy. Even the casting of the small minor characters of like
Neil Patrick
Harris. He can be a pretty uppity character. He can play that guy very well. Tyler Perry being like the famous big time lawyer. Good casting there. You know, you just immediately recognize we know who that character is just because of how he plays that character. And even when you go even smaller, the talk show host, that's the one that's like spreading all the fake news lies. That might be the most least likable looking actress.
Yeah, what else is she in?
She used to be in the Alex Rider movies. You ever watch those as a kid?
No, I didn't.
That's
She's
definitely
in
a boy
another
movie.
Kid movie that she seems like she gives like mean stepmother vibes from like a movie.
Yeah, so she plays this like character in these Alex Rider movie, and Alex Rider's like a kid spy who his like uncle secretly his whole life was training him to become a spy. So now like when something breaks out, he like has all the skills now because like he taught him how to do it all, right? Just a silly story. But she plays like this evil lady that like kind of controls the city. I don't remember the story exactly, but you just hate her. You just hate her. And just
see what else she's in so that I can.
Her name is Missy Pyle.
Okay.
Dodgeball. Galaxy Quest.
Is it Dodgeball?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She's the mom, and
yes, she's Bianca's mom.
Yeah, Blueberry Girl's mom.
Yeah. Oh wait, not Bianca. Oh yeah, Violet. You're turning violet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what I know her
Yeah,
from.
so like even that casting, you're like, because like once you start to know once you know the truth of the story and you still see this character telling lies, you're like, God, that lady sucks.
Yeah.
And you just automatically kind of just know she sucks because like talk show spewing out whatever the fuck's most interesting that's not proven, not true, just like shitting on people's lives that you don't know because you just get a few words of what might be happening.
And she was so like, I'm like for women and stuff. We shouldn't blindly defend any human being, like no matter the gender or no matter anything about them. Like every human being has their own capabilities to be at whatever, however kind or however evil that they're going to be. And I feel like, maybe this message is like, hey, like maybe you shouldn't always believe like everything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the media lies. I mean, everybody knows this now.
Yeah.
Media's just a lying machine.
And like bringing up like her, like, like saying that guy raped her and it ended up not being like that happens. Like, I'm not saying that like we shouldn't believe women because that is like an issue, but also it's kind of like these guys that didn't really do it, and there's no like innocent until proven guilty, not with all this social media stuff going around, or like TV and stuff. It's a witch hunt,
right?
Type of thing.
Yeah. And so going back to the ending of the movie, the ending is so good because it mirrors the beginning. The beginning and the end have the exact same shots. It's him out front of his house. Mm-hmm. Day one gone, right? Mm-hmm. Taking the trash out, goes inside. And I think even before that, you see like her head. He's like patting her head. She's like, she's looking at him. Very end, exact same shot. And he says the exact same lines. He's like, talking about, during marriage, you always think like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. What are you feeling?
What are you feeling? What have we done to each other? What will we? He says, what will we do at the end? But so those first three lines, they hit so differently. The exact same lines hit so much differently at the end because he's saying, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because like, you don't know what the fuck she's gonna do because she could kill him. So like, now him going back to that root of marriage, it's like, fuck, dude, what is she thinking? Like, what is she feeling? Is she okay? Are we gonna be okay? Am I gonna be framed for rape, murder? What's gonna happen?
I wonder if you put those like frames side by side, if her face is different. Because I felt like in the opening, she looks really angelic, like she's like laying in a bunch of like sheets and stuff, and he's petting her head. And then at the end, I feel like her eyes just like are the eyes that she had towards the whole back half of the movie, which are these like, it's kind of weird. Like they're multiple layers. Like I feel like every time she's looking at him, she's like trying to figure out if he knows.
Yeah. So I'll put this I'll flash on the screen, but here she looks sad, depressed, like at the beginning, how it's fooling you, like she doesn't like him. Mm-hmm. And here she's like, I bested you, bitch. You got those sharp eyes of like the confidence of just knowing she's got this whole thing under control. Yep. Just, isn't that crazy though? That just like subtle facial expressions can do such a big difference.
Yeah.
Plus the story being told helps it as well.
Yeah.
But just that little shot right there, you just see.
Yeah. I can't believe she hasn't done more stuff. She's gorgeous. Like she's a gorgeous actress. She's so talented. She was great in Saltburn. I mean, I saw her in Saltburn and I was like, I immediately don't trust you.
He casted her because she could look young and old. She kind of has like this ageless face.
Yeah.
So like anybody can kind of relate to whatever it is. Like you can just kind of fit whatever belief you have with, to see that character for who you can see it as best. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I think you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So she has like that ageless face to where like,
very timeless.
Yeah. So like, you can kind of root for her because she can be whatever age you are. So in the beginning, you like her because she's pretty. She could be whatever age you think you are. Whoever's watching it like could see themselves as like, that could be their wife. And you're like, damn, this guy fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. So it's like a great casting decision there with her looking like that.
Even like the choice in like her hair. Like at the beginning, it's very light and it's long and it has this like really like effortless curl. I kept on looking at it. I was like, damn, that's some good hair. And and then she like, you know, what all people do on the run, they just cut their hair because, you know, taking off 4 inches will just make you look completely different. And then like making your hair from like blonde to dirty blonde would definitely make people not recognize you.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like chop off all your hair and dye it black. Like if you're really trying.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was super trying to like look completely different. I think that if she really, really wanted to, she could have done more. And maybe that's just a, you know, choice in production.
Just to make her look as pretty the whole time.
But maybe she's trying to hold on to a little bit of art. Because like as for women, I think for me, like my biggest thing is like my hair. Yeah. Like if someone chopped off my hair in the night, I wouldn't even know who I was.
Me too.
Oh. But so I think
not such a sad.
Oh.
So I have one quick point with their hair, flowy, nice, you know, hair in the beginning, and then it's sharp. No, I'm.
You took my point. That's what I was just about to say.
I'll let you go, and then I'll let you go. Sorry.
But you just said it.
Go for it.
You're right. She had a sharp, stacked bob, and the rest of the time, and she is like even whenever
like
it's cut short, it's really like kind of like billowy, and there's still some innocence to it. And then like as soon as she like, and then she was instantly skinny again because she became who Neil Patrick Harris wanted her to see. He obviously like spent a bunch of money to get all that box dye out of her hair. He like pulled out that I bought you hair dye. I'm like, that's not how hair dye works. But so, and then I mean, he's
a man.
And then
he don't know shit about shit.
Well, all I'm kind of thinking is I'm like, okay, bitch, you were kidnapped, you were tied to posts, and you were starved. How'd you get that chic haircut?
Right.
I'm like, he sent you to the salon.
He might have sent her to the fancy ass salon.
Hey, babe, I'm gonna break you out of your holding cell, and I'm gonna take you, and you're gonna look all pretty for me. Maybe he did. Maybe he brought a hairstylist to the place. We don't know. But she had this A-line stacked bob, and it was sharp. And it followed like her sharp contour of her face. And so then she had all these hard lines. She didn't have the fat. She didn't have the like, you know, kind of puffier cheeks that made her look more, I don't know, maybe warm and inviting. Like when she had all the homely clothes and she's like moving around, I was like, oh, maybe she's just going to be that way.
Yeah.
I think she wanted to be that way forever.
Yeah. Her character's so good because it's so complex with the depth of her. Because, you know, they get back to her past with her parents, with her being so controlling, and then with her not fitting with Neil Patrick Harris because he's controlling. Yeah. She never has control over her life or her image, so like that's just what everything boils down to, is just that control she needs. What she'll get that control at all costs.
Well, and just not wanting to be like something for someone else. Like she like mentions like Ben Affleck, he wanted her for like sex and stuff. And even Neil Patrick Harris, he wanted her for sex and for who she used to be.
Yeah, he wanted to get laid so bad.
Yeah, and her parents wanted her for the story. And she's just like, I just don't want to live for anybody fucking else. I just want to do whatever I want.
Yeah, it just drove her fucking crazy. And she just like did like the worst thing possible.
Yeah.
Crazy. Great movie.
It's crazy what women can be driven to do.
Women, man, I got to keep an eye on you.
I never do anything.
If you had to escape, how would you frame me?
I would never frame you.
But hypothetically. Just so I can prepare.
I don't think I should say it on here.
Would you think kidnapping is the best way to go, or would you do fake murder? Beat yourself up, say I beat you?
No, that's so not believable. I don't know. I always kind of thought like overdose would be easy.
Oh my God. Kill me?
What? No, not to kill you.
Who would you overdose then?
Oh, never mind. That's for something else. That's how I would.
Jesus.
Well, when I was watching all these, like, okay, this is kind of self-incriminating. When I was watching all those like true crime podcasts and stuff, and those slideshow parties were big. When you know how like you get a group of your friends and you make like
I've never done that, but I have just heard about that. So that's funny you said that.
Yeah. So it's like we did with my old roommates when I lived in the house with the boys. And so we all like did different ones. And I said
like prove a stupid point.
Yeah. like they
Here,
were.
Just explain the game real quick.
So it's like this, all of your friends get together and you make PowerPoints over like, you know, some random category. So you could be like, if there was like a group of your girlfriends, it's like ranking all of your boyfriends by niceness or something like that. And then the reasons for it. And it just ends up being funny.
Yeah. A funny one that I heard is like, I think it was just random topics. And one of the friends, they did, this is where I heard it from. One of the friends did the female orgasm. And it was like, if it exists or not. It's like the female orgasm doesn't exist. Point 1. I ain't never seen one. And that was the only slide. It was like next point.
That's funny.
But all right.
Made me giggle. So mine was how I would murder each of you and get away with it.
That's funny.
And so I had like different ones for each of the boys.
That's good.
I won't disclose their names out of privacy.
Courteous.
But one of them, I mean, two of them had like versions of like overdose just because I felt like that would be so easy to pull off. I mean, not too far-fetched. We were like all in college and we were all kind of ready to end it anyways.
Yeah. That's funny. But
yeah.
All right. You got any final thoughts really on dark. Gone Girl?
I should definitely read the book.
I'd read the book too.
I wish I did that beforehand. I don't think we have it, which is not good. But now that I kind of know, I don't know. It was probably way more hard hitting in the book.
Yeah, you
I probably would have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but I kind of have like if I know, I don't know, especially with Thriller. Thriller like relies on like you're like holy shit.
Right.
Like, I never would have saw that,
but
you know?
It's the same thing as watching a movie and knowing the twist. You can see all the seeds being planted. So it might be fun to watch the book unfold that way.
Yeah, the book that Gray just read that I lent him is a lot like this one. That it's kind of like, and I like that it's like, you know kind of what's happening at the beginning, but then as it unfolds, it's different than what you were thinking. And that's kind of the fun of it. So then I feel like if I go back and read the book now, knowing everything like that's supposed to unfold, I'm kind of like, ugh. Like if I was reading it and I was like, and I saw Andy pop up, the girl that he's sleeping with, I'd be like, that asshole. I could be like, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the whole point. That's what a book relies on.
Yeah.
If not, you're just reading paper.
Yeah. My final thoughts are, great movie. I might even bump my score up to a 9 after talking about it. 'Cause it was, I mean, such a great movie. So many good, deep things within it. The characters make so much sense. The dynamics are great. Obviously, beautiful shot. Fincher does a great job pacing it well.
So many good shots.
It tricks you. You like don't know how to feel throughout the whole movie until the very end. I felt like I knew how to feel. You know, he obviously fucked up and you know did bad stuff, but she just like is so evil. You're like fuck. At the end, you're just like that feeling at the end. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Aesthetically, like the colors and stuff, it's very drab. Very like there's no bright colors in it at all.
Yeah, he's always kind of dull with his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that short that we were filming where I got dragged in the gravel, that's very Gone Girl vibes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll end with this. Fuck you, Ben Affleck.
Damn, just right to end it off.
He's just letting J-Lo go like that? Like, come on.
I think she sucks, though.
I think they both suck.
Probably.
I definitely think he sucks.
I think it's pretty rare to have a good Hollywood relationship. Most of them are pretty fucking shitty, I think. I would assume from everything you hear.
Well,
but the media,
I believe everything that Ryan Reynolds says, and he loves Jennifer Gardner, so I believe her 100%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's
great.
And she's not in the spotlight, so that's probably a good sign.
Yeah.
If you're super famous.
She used to be married to Ben Affleck forever. Yeah. They have children together.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, all right. Thank you guys for listening. Drop below your thoughts of what you think about Gone Girl. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know if you disagree with us. And we'll catch you next week. We're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. when the boss man sends my next check.